Hey, Brock, Oleanology and Viticulture students, Ian Gordon here, Brock Science Librarian. I'm going to spend about 30 minutes or so of your time to show you things that may help you to be a better researcher, a better writer, and a better presenter. I may show you things in our library that you already know about, services you may have used, but tips and tricks and things that may be important for you as you seek scholarly information from peer-reviewed journals, help you to do labs, assignments, and presentations and essays as you move through your particular program. All slides are archived on Google Slides, and this YouTube presentation can be viewed at any particular time. We're here to help. Here's our library homepage. This homepage provides new to Brock students in the library resources. Check those out because they're important resources to look at as well. Our hours are here, though we're physically just starting to get open. There's a number of services that are important to you. One is print book pickup, so you can fill out a form and ask for a book to be placed for you and signed out for you to pick up, usually within 24 to 48 hours if you're available in the area. If you find an article or a chapter of a print book in our library you'd like a digital copy of, you can make out a similar request for scanned materials. They get it, scan it, then email it to you directly. It can't be any more than 10% of the page numbers of a particular print book, but they can do that for you usually in 2 to 3 days as well. A number of things are unrolling, but all our databases, our digital resources, our electronic resources and services, as well as people to help you are available online as well. Ask Chat is there right beside it, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but Research Guides is where I want to take you. This is the Research Guide separated by faculty and department, and the Oleanology and Viticulture Library Research Guide is right here as well. There's other services on this page, like the Ask Chat with the Librarian. That's really important. It's on many pages. It's a service coordinated by all libraries across Ontario, academic libraries, where we help you through a chat service, simple questions. So you click on the chat, it comes up and asks you, hello, how are you? And you ask a question, things you would use this for. You want quick answers to important things through the day, through the night, through the week, and even on weekends. And what it does is you may ask, how do I cite this? Like, this isn't working. Or where do I find this? Or I need a definition for this. Or this article isn't available. How do I sign up for? Quick things that you can help you. Brock provides services here, but a librarian from across Ontario may be able to help you that. So Ask Chat with the Librarian is really an important service during these times. Here's the Oleanology Viticulture Guide. As you see, there's a bit of commentary there, my picture, that's who I look like. And if you see below my picture, you see email me, so my email address is there. And book a consultation. Book a consultation is kind of neat. What it does is it opens up and clicks up my calendar and availability for a day and through this whole term. So you click on a day and a time that works for you, and then it would ask you, once you click on that, what is the nature of your request or something like that. And you would say, oh, I need to talk to Ian about Zotero, or how to do a research, or I'm just having trouble getting started with this. We can help you with that. So it's set the appointment, and through Zoom or LifeSize or Teams or some other software that we both use, we'll connect and we'll actually work for 45 minutes on your particular issue. So email, book a consultation. We can certainly help. There's other tabs on the left-hand side, like streaming videos. We have lots of streaming videos we license. Associations, Oleanology and Viticulture license associations that may be able to help you. Interlibrary loans to set up, register for the first time, then get resources from other libraries that we do not own for free, and help where to get help as well. Let's move through the Books and eBooks tab. So these aren't scholarly peer-reviewed articles, but many books for your subject areas include edited papers, chapters of articles. And though there's not too much scholarly information, there's lots of public or general information about wine, grapes, viticulture, growing, agriculture. We have access to research collections in these particular areas as well. There's 4 databases here. Omni is our database. I'm going to show you that at the very end, how that works as well. Other Google Books you may have used it for to find digital parts of print books we may own or we may not own. It's an excellent resource as well. And WorldCat answers the question, what books are available on my topic that the Brock Library does not hold that I may be able to identify, save to a citation management system, and maybe ask interlibrary loans for? It's a really important source. The caveat to this is if you come across a book the Brock Library does not own, I would certainly love an email from you saying, could you acquire this for our library? I would consider it. We would try to get a digital copy. We can get it within a week usually. Sometimes we can get it available on the same day. So if you identify a book that we don't have, we should have, whether it's a newer edition of a book or a book that you think would be important to you and others, let me know. I'd appreciate your feedback. So Omni is the database to find books and ebooks. Click here to find open educational resources. That's a really important part of research. Open meaning it's usually free, and they're usually lecture notes, slides, presentations, videos. Open meaning freely available educational resources to replace textbooks as teaching materials. They're increasingly becoming very important, and you may come across a course that uses an open educational resource as a textbook or a template or format to teach a whole course. They're from around the world, and they're all listed here. There's meta search engines, there's individual textbook databases, so click here to find out what you find as well. So books, ebooks, and increasingly open educational resources. So I searched for one of these books, a book that's quite popular and used by not only scholars and non-scholars. Wine Science by Jackson, a classic. We have the 5th edition in our library, so you would probably trip across that. The Science of Grapevines, another academic scholarly book. We try to acquire almost every scholarly book that deals with grape wines, winemaking, and all the peripheral areas like sensory, psychology, business. We usually try to get most of it here, so be surprised if you identify something that's scholarly that we do not already own. Here's an ebook, Neuroanology. We have it. I don't know what it's about, but I'm sure you do. Here's an interesting publication, government documents, meaning field notes, sheets, guides. Whether it be from Ontario or from BC or from Oregon or New York State or Cornell or wherever around the world in any particular language. We don't tend to cite these in Omni, but they're important documents to have. So they're considered ebooks or digital books. You would find them, but we don't put them into our Omni database and we don't collect them as well. So you're kind of on your own for that, but there's certain essential guides that you've used, like Crop Protection Guide for Grapes 2020-2021, put out by OMAFRA. Here's a book. Victoria James wrote, that's her real name, Wine Girl, Sommelier's Tale of Making It in the Toxic World of Fine Dining. Now, we don't generally buy these things. I would if it was important for teaching or research, but there's a huge area of books and ebooks that we do not collect that are equally important. Again, just want to let you know that they're there. You can find them by Amazon.com or WorldCat or other sorts of databases as well. Theses and Dissertations is another tab on the Oenology and Viticulture Library Research Guide. As you can see, there's lots of databases because theses and dissertations, meaning masters, usually a science thesis, and dissertations or PhD documents are really important, but they're gray literature. They're not really a book and they're not really published, but they're published all the time. So there's a number of databases that cite them regionally, like in the UK or all around the world. They're hard to find, but all Brock theses are in our Brock Theses Depository. I'll show you that in a minute. There's a number of databases we use. The ProQuest Dissertations and Theses Global Database is handy because not only does it find theses that are publicly available, but it also includes the full text as well. So you got to try this database if indeed you're finding something, or if you're actually doing a thesis, major paper, a capstone project, or a dissertation. Here's an example of a search I did in this database. I searched for the word wine or shift 8 after wine. That symbol picks up any word with that root, so wine or wines or winemaking is one word. Or it's like teenager or high school student or adolescent. Different words for the same concept. English language is all we get to use, and it's difficult to know what is the exact term or the current term, so you try to use as many synonyms without being ridiculous. So wine or grapes, vitis or oenology spelled differently. So I put those to one side and looked for them anywhere. Found 100,000 documents. And I said, let's look at sense or sensory or perception or tasting or taste or aroma or flavor spelled two different ways or odor. And I found hundreds of documents. And so I said, that's an important concept to me. Let's look for those words that have to be in the title of the thesis or dissertation. I still had hundreds and hundreds of documents that were probably really important. I could browse through them, but I said, in any of those documents that I've got, they have to have at least one or a number of these combinations of the word Riesling or Finger, like in Finger Lakes or Niagara, or if you put words like Google in parentheses, it looks for words exactly as a phrase, so New York. And I said, it has to be in the abstract because every thesis or dissertation has an abstract. I limited to after 2000. I found 63 documents. I could browse through them. You have to ask yourself, is 63 too many or too few or just right? Well, only you can discern that. When to use the database to narrow the research, or words to include or exclude, or how to tag records and put them to one side. Because of all 63, if I was looking at this subject here, I may say, here's 10 that look interesting and 8 I'm going to use. I'll send them to a citation management system, I'll download them or email them to myself. That's usually how every database search works. So you browse through the titles and say, well, I never thought of that. Here's theses from China, theses Ohio State, Cornell, and a Brock University thesis, which should also be in our Brock Digital Library. Every database has its own filters, and every database has its own self-citing system, email download, and how to mark and track things as well. Theses or dissertations, as I said, has our own Brock thesis, so this is really powerful in case you're writing one or you're searching this unique literature and you find them. So if you search the Brock theses, it asks you can search by and browse by doctoral theses or master's theses, by faculty and department. Sometimes your theses are in biological sciences, sometimes they're in biotechnology. That's where most of them all fall. So you can browse them or you can search. So I searched all the theses on the phrase sauerkraut and I pulled up a number of theses that are in full text format. I did another search for Pickering. I was in Your Professor. And 112 times in these many documents were there Pickering. And it tells you a citation where it's held in the theses, and it lists them in relevance order or reverse order chronology, and you can pull up the full text of it. So here's a thesis by this student. 2013, and the full text is there. And then thinking about a full text document is you can look at the methodology, the literature review, the way they phrase things, and the reference citations as well. But anytime you come across things, whether it's a book, a thesis, you should cite it as well. Plagiarism is probably something you do not want to be confronted on. So always cite if in doubt. If in doubt, cite, remember that. So theses and dissertations are great. Definitions, handbooks, and guides. So there's a number of tools we use. Oxford references here. It's a multi-numbered dictionaries, encyclopedias, probably 100, 200. You can search for keywords or phrases to get definitions and citations and scholarly handbook or review articles and those sorts of things. And then I've listed a number of tools that we have specifically that you could use. They're all really neat, and you may use them one day to say, how do I define this? Or when was this word used? Or how is it spelled? Or how is it pronounced? Geez, I learned about that as well. Further down on the page, there's a list of handbooks and companions. There's a number that are here. Handbooks and companions, there's many that are here, but encyclopedias and dictionaries specific to viticulture and oenology, just to identify them because they're hard to find when you need them, but there's a list that you can use as well. Grapes and Wines, A Comprehensive Guide to Varieties and Flavors, 2015. I clicked on it, and I found an article on the taste of Riesling. Interesting. Okay. You can search by keyword or by phrase. And again, if you find it, if in doubt, cite. So you can cite it. Some of the databases self-cite. Sometimes you pull it into a citation management system. Some are better than others, but at least you have the information. You can put in a bibliography or footnote. So we've gone through a number of things. Writing and citing, that's an important tab. Listed on here is a number of citation management systems, a number of guides for styles. Zotero is what I tend to teach and use. There's a number of them. You may ask, Ian, how do I set up and use Zotero? I'll show you why and how people use it as well. There's some style guides that you may use. It's hard to know what oenology and viticulture, what style of formatting and writing and use of words and terms and numbers is used. How do you set up a page? But you'll have to ask your TA or your lab assistant or your instructor on which one you should use to write a paper or a citation or even a lab note. If you go further down this page, I've got a number of resources that help writing presentations and lab reports. That's a big thing I usually get asked. How do I write a lab report? How do I cite in it? Here's a number of guides and live links that you can use for that. And other ebooks and books that you could use. Browse through these. One may be better than another. They're excellent tools to help you find how to be a better writer. Some are in print, which you can get, but usually there's enough that are electronic digital format. You can look at them at any time, at any day. Scientific writing, thinking in words. I clicked on that just yesterday, and I found an article saying, giving impact to your scientific story. It kind of helped me out to write things, or do a poster, or make a presentation. And again, if you use it, if in doubt, cite. Oenology and viticulture, news articles. They're quite powerful because they give flavor a quote, a document. You'll find things that are current, like same-day full text. You can find any other way. And there's a number of Canadian, international, and regional databases and newspapers that you could use as well. I suggest you use Nexus Uni. It's really powerful because it pulls content from around the world instantly from today, every hour, every second, going back 10 or 15 years. You could search to find articles that may be of interest. Factiva does the same sort of thing, so they're kind of the similar sorts of things. Here's an article I found in Uni. It's researchers explore relationships between taste and temperature. Oh, Dr. Gary Pickering is cited here. Again, if you use it, cut and paste, quote it, always cite it. If in doubt, cite. Article databases. So we've all said all that to get to here. This is really what I'd like to talk to you about. How to find scholarly peer-reviewed articles. Well, there's a number of ways in science. The problem with viticulture and oenology, it transcends, as I've said, so many different scientific disciplines, specific areas of research, and interdisciplinary areas of research as well. So there's about 20 databases you could use. I've put together a summary here of types of databases you could use. It would be nice if there was one database that pulled all your research out, ranked it, sorted it, provided full text documents, put things into a citation and management system so that it's a one-stop shop. We're getting there, but we aren't there yet because every database has unique content. Every database works differently. Every database pulls keywords and abstracts and full text for data mining from different parts of different documents. So sometimes you can perform the same search in a different database and find the same article in every database, but more than likely you'll find unique content in some databases you won't find in others. Omni is the database of choice, and if you choose to use Omni, make sure that you go to our homepage, and Omni is on our front page here. Click on the advanced search, but also click on Omni search tips. Do me a favor, go to this page and watch the guide, Meet Omni. It'll answer all your often asked questions of why you need to sign in when you use it, how you search properly, what logic you use, and how to search keywords, and then how to filter your results as well. It'll be, I think it's 3 minutes well, not wasted. So let's go back to the article databases. Omni is to use. If you go further down, I've listed, in no real order at all, all the other databases that are important. Things like Vitis, viticulture and enology abstracts, specific to viticulture and enology. It's not too deep, it's not too wide, but it's an important database that's freely available, not only at proc, but at any other time. Food science and technology abstracts. Think food. Think research that deals with this, but it's a huge database that has unique content. Google Scholar. I use Google Scholar when I have to find an article. I don't know where it is. I go into our proxy address and I put in the title of the article and the link comes up and I usually find the PDF for it there. With Google Scholar, we don't know how and what it scrapes and how it searches for things, but it's a pretty blunt instrument, but it's pretty powerful. Many people use Google Scholar when they know exactly what they're looking for. Web of Science Core Collection is in core articles from all of science and social science. It's really powerful, and I'll show you how that works. Scholars Portal e-Journals is an important database. It takes every journal article that Brock and every Ontario university downloads through licensing and subscriptions, puts it into this one database, so you're searching all Ontario PDFs for all scholarly articles. It's a huge database. You're searching every word in every article. Not something that every other database does. And Microsoft Academic. I never heard about it. It's kind of a sister to Google Scholar. I like to show you it because it's a new way of searching and it's freely available as well. You go further down the page, there's databases by medicine, chemistry, so you're searching the literature using a chemistry paradigm or frame of reference, biology, agriculture, horticulture, environment. CB Abstracts is probably one of the newest databases. It searches for articles that are third worldish related, international development. It covers things that you won't find anywhere else. It's really an amazing database. So here's Microsoft Academic. I searched wine tasting and I came up with 6 articles when I limited by sensory analysis, wine tasting, wine, and sensory systems. Every article has one. This has about 10 clusters. So Microsoft Academic does not search by keywords or phrases. Relevancy or date or occurrence of words in certain fields, it searches by clusters. So if you can find a cluster in the Microsoft Academic that matches your concept, and they define them, here's the one for wine tasting. It tells you these are all the subheadings, the headings, it defines it, tells you how many records. It searches for all the articles prior to this date and after this date that have been cited by articles, and it builds a database based on subjects or clusters. Kind of really neat. You find an article that you're looking for, it doesn't link to Brock Holdings, but you can go back to Omni, put the title in, see whether we have it or not. So here's an article, title, where it's from, citation, authors, abstract. Actually, the link to the PDF is here because it's an open document, but you can actually go back to Omni and punch in the title and click on articles and search, and Omni is like a double check to see whether we have it through our subscriptions, and it's not freely available. Never pay for an article. If we don't have it, you can get it through into Librarian or ask, can you help me get this article? And here's the citation of the article and the article itself. Download it every time you find something that's of interest, and the PDF as well. And again, always cite. Scholars Portal e-journals, remember? Full text documents of PDFs of voluntary articles. The neat thing about it is you could search. So I searched for the word wine or wines in the abstract. I found too many. And I said, I want this other concept, microoxygenation, or MOX, the abbreviation, anywhere in the article, anywhere in the methodology, the discussion, the results, everywhere. And it found 6 articles. And not only does it bring up the citation, but it brings up the PDF. So every time you use Scholars Portal e-journals, not only do you find the article, but the article is downloadable because that's why we put it in this particular database. Google Scholar. Here we go, Google Scholar. Pretty blunt, can't put too many words in. Sort by date or relevance, exclude patents. The articles are here. And if you search through our proxy address, you find specific articles and URLs. It works most of the time. But this article may not be in this URL, but we may have it. Similarly, this article does not have a link, but we may have it. Always check Omni to see whether we have this particular article or chapter or book or item that you want. Google Scholar is pretty neat. Use it at your own risk. Food science and technology abstracts. Pretty specific database. It speaks the language of food and technology. So when you think of wine and viticulture, agriculture, perception, wine tasting, it may have a bit of that, but it's meant for food and all the related subjects that deal with food and technology. So I searched the subject ethylene, since it has a controlled language. I'll show you how that works. I said anything that has the word grape or grapes or wine or winemaking in any field. And I limited by date 2000 to the present. And I picked up their filter. I said, I want everything that by that date that has academic journals that's in English. 54 of 94 are listed here. Is that too few or too many? You'll have to discern. But what happens is every database allows you to mark records, put them to one side. So of these 94 documents, I could link and sort by date or by relevancy. I may say 10 look interesting, 5 I'll mark. I'll put them into a citation management system or download the PDF. That's usually how searching works. Here's an article I found, effects of ethylene on the color change, citation, abstract. And look at the value of the subjects they use. So you can use their subjects to know confidently what words they use to describe 1 or 2 concepts as well. Every article, if it's available, has a DOI, digital object identifier. It's a number and letters that identifies this specific, it's like its social insurance number, this particular document, usually an article. And you can use that to find the full text, pull it into a citation management system. But the citation and the DOI is usually available in every database. Sometimes it's easier to find than else. Here's that article I found. It was open. It's available. And again, cite it using the style that you suggest to use. Vitus. Viticulture and all the abstracts. Produced by the German government. It's in English or German. I searched the word Pickering as an author. Then it's kind of strange to OR documents, subjects together, or words taste, perception, flavor. You put it in like in this formatting. So it searched for the word teenager or adolescent or high school student, England or Great Britain or United Kingdom. Different words for the same concept. It's kind of ass words, but it works quite well. I'd say almost all of the literature cited here for journals is available in all other databases. But sometimes it pulls up conference papers, which are important, articles and cited books, or things that are hard to find. So it's always good to search to see what extra you can find using Vitus. Oh, it's a free available database as well over the internet. Here's an entry, author title, persistent link, DOI that is listed here, and an abstract, and you can link to see whether it's in our library or not. I found it. It's by a number of Brock authors, including your professor. Excuse me. DOI is there, citation, grab it, read it, see if it works. I use Zotero. So this is I have a virtual account in the clouds, which backs up my desktop account. So here it is. I build file folders for certain subjects, and you can do this. So you have a record of all academia for all subjects and all classes you've done. I actually used the DOI here and pulled this article here without doing much. The neat thing about it is Zotero is a citation management system. You should pick a style. It has many records or all the records or one records like I've done. And by clicking, it produces the citation automatically. So powerful. If you don't use a citation management system, contact me. I'll show you why and how it would save time and how important it is, not only now, but as you move forward and do serious research, or you become the research guru or grunt that has to pull research for a company or a winery. This is a way to grab it, archive it, format it, and share it with others as well. Oh, Web of Science. This is probably one of the most important databases, so you got to do this. Web of Science is science and social science from across disciplines. So I want to try a different search. I'm not an author or cited reference or advanced search. I put in the phrase sparkling wine or wines. Topic meaning citation, abstract, and keywords. Fermentation or ferment, any word with that root. I picked my date range from 2000. I clicked on search, and I found 214 records. So you can browse these and sort them by time cited, meaning how many times they've been used. That's really powerful. You get to see what other people are looking at and citing, relevance, or by date. You can put them in folders and send them to one side. So of the 214, you may find 30 important. Look at the marked list that's here and find, as I did, 22 that may be of importance as well. The neat thing about Web of Science is it's probably the best and only database that does cited reference searching. So what it does is it takes this article, and if you click on it, it gives you a citation, an abstract, a DOI, an abstract keyword. So it finds out, it tells you how many citations are in this article. But more importantly, it tells you in this database for the journals that they reference, this article has been cited since it was published in 2014, 27 times. So it's a way of tracking who is reading and citing this research as a way of following that object or that shiny thing or going down that dark hole to see what other people are using this article for. You can't do this in any other database. Really powerful. Find the article at any particular time, read it, you have to download it, you can link it, and the citation, however you want to do that as well. So here's my notes. We're kind of wrapping up, and before we jump into Omni, Library Oenology Viticultural Research Guide. Check it out. It's my starting point, and I use it as a frame to see what I could or couldn't use, what I should or shouldn't do. Talk to books and ebooks and open educational resources, definitions, handbooks, and guides. Theses and dissertations, especially Brock's, they're really important as well. Interlibrary loan, or RACER as we call it, to get resources not at Brock. The writing and citing tab to help with writing lab retorts, being a better writer or researcher or a reader as well. And citation management systems like Zotero. News articles are important. Scholarly articles using the appropriate filter databases to find peer-reviewed scholarly research. Hopefully you already know what peer-reviewed means. Or to book a consultation, email me, Ian, or chat with the librarian if you need something right now. Here's the scholarly databases that we looked at. Again, you can look at them and decide which one you want to use. You can use one, you can use. I always suggest once you define your keywords and terms, your spaces and places, meaning how far back you want to go and how you want to define what you're looking for. Vitus is something you kind of always have to search in case it brings up something else not found elsewhere. Google Scholar is free and quick and dirty. You may just use that. Microsoft Academic is free for you to use, whether you're a Brock or not. It's kind of neat, cluster searching. Scholars Portal e-journals to find articles and PDFs that you can't easily find anywhere else. Food, science, and technology abstracts. Think food, think agriculture. Web of Science for all sciences, but that port, remember I showed you? Reference, citation, analysis to find articles that cite other articles. And Omni, a general database search for books and ebooks, but more importantly for articles and Brock's content as well. Wrapping up, you should use different databases, all have unique content. You recognize that. Your keywords and the language you use is powerful, and how you put synonym names and how you group concepts. How you search using terms and titles and abstracts and full text. But be careful, you don't want to narrow your search because sometimes browsing, marking, and downloading email records, you serendipitously look at, oh, that's an interesting article. Or I should modify my search and try this word, or let's try this author. Or when you know you're done, you kind of see the same sorts of articles time and time again, independent of which database you use. So good luck with your searching. Use a citation management system, as I said. I think I've said that 6 times. You really need to use one as well. But we can't help. So, I love, if you've never used Unsplash, I use that as the best free resource to finding pictures. So pictures are grouped by topic and by keyword, but they're downloadable as long as you cite them and free to use. Excellent. Unsplash if you've never used it. But good luck with your assignments. And thanks for allowing me to share some of my expertise and how I may be able to help you. What we're going to do now is we're going to end this presentation and jump into Omni. Let's hold a minute while I flip the frame in. So here's the Brock Library database. Here's our guide to what's new and different, scanning and getting books. Here's what's new to discover, our hours. Omni is here. Ask Chat is here as well. So Omni is here on the research guides as well as our home page. So again, we went into OEVI and viticulture. We look at scholarly articles. There they all are. And by no shame, Omni is there right on top. So search Omni. There's that Ask is Chat. But when it's closed, you can send them an email as well. Academic search, I always do an advanced search. And so you can search for books in our library. What you do is you limit the filter type books and ebooks or our videos or streaming content. But let's look for articles. So let's enter a search term. Let's search for words. You can't search abstracts or any field. Let's look for the word wine. In this database, it's really important. If you don't remember anything about this presentation, remember in Omni to link concepts together using and as it's set here. But to link synonyms together, you have to type or as in capital O-R, or it doesn't understand your logic. O-R. Wine or wines or see, it's kind of asked me what I want. And all is height, truncate that. Camera is capital or O-N-O-G. I know there's a difference. Or grape, or grapes, or graping. You can add as many terms as you want. Search to see how many records you get. So we're looking for articles that have these words in any language, over 1 million. So let's look for, since we're only looking for 1 or 2 articles, any field contains, but let's look for titles of articles. So academic journal articles, though they're almost always in English, let's limit this search by English and see how we do. So articles that are English, well, limited by about 1/10. But we know we have another concept. So we have the word taste, or tasting, or sensory, we don't have to truncate that, or flavor, spelling does count. Different words. So we found how many of these 100,000 articles have these words as well. 26,000. Still a bit too many. So let's look, since we're looking for 1 or 2 articles, let's look for these words in the title as well. And we'll search. 3,617. There's other search databases, search engines that you could use as well. So let's use the filters that are listed here as well. You can filter by date. So let's go from 2000 to the present and we'll hit refine. Now our search down. Again, we're looking for articles with these words or keywords. This is really the important one here. They're almost all available online, but peer-reviewed journals, meaning they're not news magazines, they're not book reviews, they're not editorials, they're not short articles. It usually works quite well. So we're going to limit by peer-reviewed scholarly journals. 1,000, so we've cut it down by 1/3. Available online articles by date, language we've already discerned. We can sort by relevancy, or we can list them from newest to oldest, and we can browse through them at any particular time. But it's really doing it. It's really like any database. It's saying, you got too many. Let's add a new line. Let's add the word Cabernet. or, remember, capital O-R, or you can add different terms. Let's find how many of these have at least one or both of these words in it. 790. Let's look for these words. Any field, the title as well. So we're looking for articles that have one or both of these particular words. 145. Again, too many, too few? I'd suggest we look at these and you can sort them by relevancy or date. But anytime you find an article, you can read the title and you go, well, that looks interesting. You can tag it if you signed in, and it keeps a record of all the records you've tagged and puts them on one side. Realizing also, if you find an article that's of interest, you can bring up the full text, read the title of the article, and actually find it and download it as well. So there you go. Omni works on the front page. It's also on the list. It's a database to find articles because it's our finder. It lists our books and ebooks and other sorts of material types. But you really need to master and watch that Meet Omni database video as well. So there you go. Email me, book a consultation. Good luck with your presentation, your essays, your assignments, your labs. I know you do well. It's a fascinating program. I wish I would have been able to take when I was just a young guy as well. So good luck with everything you need to do. And contact me if you need some help. Bye for now.